Sator is a brand new 2021, although on IMDb I think it says it's like 2019, but you know what COVID did, so it didn't really get released to most of us until 2021, so I'm counting it as a 2021 film. But this, as far as a plot synopsis goes, Jesus Christ, this is a tough one. It's kind of like a secluded family, and they're basically like this old mom who seems to be suffering from like dementia or something. She is her sons are like listening to her stories, or almost an investigation of this Sator character, this supernatural entity that's kind of like watching over them. And it's really just kind of an exploration of that. And it is a very independent film that was almost completely created by one guy. He did like everything. At the very end, it shows the credits, and he did like directing, producing, editing, fucking cinematography, music, whatever, dude. The dude did it. It was wild. I was like, holy shit, man. So kudos to this guy, no matter what anyone thinks of this film. And trust me, there's a decent amount of people that I know that are loving this movie. Paul Shunk being one of those. He watched it like 3 fucking times in one day, so that's crazy to me. But as far as it goes for me, you know, I completely see what there is to like, because there is a good amount to respect here, and I think that the climax of the film is pretty eerie at times. Where the film kind of loses it for me is with the pacing of the film. It is uber slow, where basically nothing's happening for an extended period of time, and I'm just like, oh my god. I feel like if they could have played off of the eeriness and just kind of focused a little bit more on like what's out in the shadows. Now, this atmosphere is going to land for people enough so that they feel like they got more than they actually did, which is fine. I just personally was hoping for more with what's going on in that middle area, because the film almost plays out like found footage in a way. Like, it isn't, but it feels like it at times, because there's like interviews with the mom recounting her history with this Sator character, and we see a lot of her writing of what she's kind of like scrawled down, which I think is all really well done. I think the acting is all pretty good. I think that the filmmaking here, especially from one person, is quite good. It just really came down to pacing for me personally. It does kind of feel like an off-brand A24 film or something. Paul had compared it to The Witch, and I think while I could understand the comparison to a degree, I think where The Witch succeeds exponentially over this is within its character development and focus on the dialogue and kind of the showcasing of the time period. Like, The Witch has a lot going for it. There's a phenomenal performance from multiple people in the film. The proper Old English of the time, the set designs, the costume designs, a lot of good, interesting arguments between the family and questions of religion, and there's a lot going on. And then there's this kind of like undigestible ending for a lot of people that split the audience, and The Witch is just far superior to me than this film. But that's not to say that there isn't things that I think are good here. There actually are, and I really love some of the imagery, and I love kind of some of the payoff. I just felt like getting there was a tremendous chore. I found myself to be, kind of looking at the timestamps, seeing like where we were at, and I was like an hour into the film, and it's only like an hour and 20 something minutes. Like I was into it, and I was just kind of like, wow, I don't feel like almost anything's happened yet. And I hate to be that guy that's like, nothing's happening. But that's very much the way I felt a good amount of the time. It was like, I didn't feel the looming threat of Sator. I didn't feel completely mystified and intrigued by his, you know, um, his mystery that surrounds the character of what it is. While that is present, I just didn't feel it was a pressing matter for me to kind of latch onto and worry about and get invested. Because honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm spitballing this whole review as usual, it really came down to characters for me. More so even than the pacing. It was like, give me something to latch onto from a character standpoint. I didn't get anything from these guys that was able to kind of get me through the slower parts. Like, oh, I like this person. I understand this person, or I don't like this person, and I'm compelled to see what they're going to do next, or what the next bit of dialogue is going to be, where we're going to go with the story next. And it just, I don't know, it just kind of dragged, or did drag. It didn't kind of dragged a whole lot. But yeah, I can definitely see. I mean, obviously, I know somebody or know a couple of people who do love the movie, so I can definitely see the audience that this movie will have, and maybe I'll like it a little bit more on a second viewing. I don't think I'd get to the love place, but you never know. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna have its audience. It's just, I think a lot of my audience is gonna be bored by the film. But if you're into like super slow burn, ultra low budget, atmospheric films that don't show you a whole ton and kind of save it for that last 10 minutes. Um, and even that last 10 minutes isn't some crazy wild ride other, but comparison to the rest of the movie, it's high octane, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some of the imagery and some of the scenes that I really enjoyed made it feel like it was worth it for me. But at the end of the day, can I recommend it to everybody? No. No, it's going to have a very specific audience that's going to love it. And then the rest of us are either going to be on the side of what I'm saying, or just straight up that it was boring. I fucking hate it. I don't ever want to see it again. So we shall see what the general consensus is in the next few weeks, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what that is, and maybe I'll be in the minority. Maybe a lot of people will love this one, but man, it for anyone who's like opposed to slow burns, or like is like, oh well, how slow? Really slow, really slow. And that's coming from the guy who put The Shining on every night before bed and was just always entertained. So really slow. Anyways, let me know if you watch it. Adios.